Hello, folks. Welcome to another great episode of Soul Therapy Live with Harleen Bagga. For those who don't know me, my name is Harleen. I'm a certified life coach. I'm a psychotherapist, multidisciplinary psychotherapist. I'm also a positive psychologist and I deal with a lot of issues. We have started this series where every Thursday we are meeting 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time to get together and answer your questions. It is about touching lives, it's about healing hearts, it's about bringing and forming a community where there is support and there is emotional and mental resilience for one another. That is an attempt, and that is why we have launched into these web series. I do have questions already with me. The way this works is people write to me on my different resources like Facebook, Messenger, Insta, WhatsApp, and they ask me their questions. So go ahead, please like and subscribe to the resources so that next time you are able to get your question in. Because once we have your question in, we are in a position to read it, answer it, and help you find a solution that perhaps you're looking for. Start with today is a set of 5 questions. Last time we went a little over, so this time I thought that we would probably stick to 5 questions, but go a little deeper and answer them in a way that is more appropriate. The first question I have is from an anonymous person. He says, how can I be viewed as someone who is confident at my workplace? Now, this is a very common question and a very common issue that we face during our corporate workshops, also, especially for employees starting out. It is quite an issue. Thanks, Rohit. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me. It is my pleasure. Coming back to the question, um, first of all, I want you to ask yourself that do you believe in yourself? Your question is, how can you be viewed as a confident person? But my question to you as a therapist and as a psychologist is, do you view yourself as a confident person? See, confidence needs to be intrinsic. What that means is it needs to come from ourselves. Because if you are intrinsically a confident person, then it won't be a mask. It won't be a setup. It won't be something that you're putting on for someone at work, for instance. If we are able to find your motivation and heal you in a way that you are able to become the person that you want to be viewed as, which is a confident person, then guess what? You are going to be confident no matter where, no matter what. So, how do we do that? First step, what makes you think that you are not confident? Typically, at a workplace, it could be one of 3 things. It could be knowledge, which means lack of competency, lack of skills. Second is physiology. Maybe something about your external appearance makes you feel a little short or a little intimidated. Third, communication. Maybe there is you feel you come short or you fall short and you are unable to communicate as efficiently, and that is affecting you. Once you are able to recognize which of these buckets your problem lies in, only then we can move on to the next step. So once you have identified that, my friend, now I want you to think about, why is the gap there? Is it something that you can control? Is it something that is externally driven? What is causing that gap? Second, how and what can you do to bridge the gap? If you know the gap is there and you have identified the reason for the gap, what is preventing you from bridging that gap? It is a lot of things I know for you to reflect on, but only when you recognize, accept, and reflect, then only you are in a position to move forward. The third thing is we need to find your driving force, right? What is it that you need to bridge that gap? Uh, do you need motivation? Or are you just simply insecure, or you have some kind of restricting belief? So what is motivation? I mentioned that even earlier. Motivation, like we all know, is that driving force that keeps you going, right? It is that source of energy with which you get up every morning and you head out to work, or you come and open your laptop and you do a task. Motivation can be divided into two buckets: intrinsic and extrinsic. I used that word even earlier, and this is the explanation for it. Intrinsic motivation is something from within. It is what happens when it's about the confidence, what I spoke to you about, right? Where if you are intrinsically motivated to be confident, that means you want to be confident for yourself. Hey, thank you for that message. I just received a WhatsApp message. Thank you so much. I appreciate you logging in. Stay tuned. So the other thing that coming back to your answer is, um, if you want to be confident for yourself, right, then you will be confident no matter what. And if that is your motivation, my friend, you have won half the battle. However, if your motivation is extrinsic, which means that you are doing it to be validated from another person, you're doing it only at your workplace, you're doing it as a pretense and as a sort of a mask, a persona that you want to create, that will not last you. And this kind of motivation, though it is proven in science as part of the self determination theory, it has been there as part of our religion and scriptures, right? Buddhism said long back that we have to identify and find your core motivation here aligns itself with intrinsic motivation. If your motivation is environmental, then what you are going for is instant gratification. It will work for you for that moment in time. If I give you a formula, my friend, which helps you be viewed as a confident person, it will work once, it'll work twice. You might get an instant hit, some kind of a high about being viewed as a confident person. But after that, it's not going to help you. So, how do we motivate you? How do we change that? First, obviously, find your motivation. For that, you need to view inside of yourself. If that is a difficult thing to do, this is where a life coach comes in, or a therapist comes in. Again, it doesn't have to be. Go ahead and talk to anyone. What you can alternatively do is, please subscribe and come on board our community. There you will receive abundant information, thoughts, techniques, and information on how this can be done. And all this is free, of course. You can also join our YouTube channel where there are multiple videos, which when you view, reflect, and work on, can help you build and develop those skills. The third thing that you can do, my friend, is join one of our workshops, where, especially my corporate workshops, where we are developing those skills in a one-to-many ratio, in a one-to-many relationship. So if that is something that you need to do and are interested in, you could probably do that as well. Coming back, I spoke about two solutions. One was motivation. Second one was, maybe it is some restricting belief within yourself where you are not feeling confident. If that is the case, we need to ask you, and you yourself, what is holding you back? What is that thought that is preventing you from making progress in the area? If you have identified, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say you have identified that I am not confident because I feel that my skills are not up to the mark. You have identified that if you followed the above. What is preventing you from bridging that gap? What is holding you back from bridging that gap? Is it some kind of insecurity within you where you feel you're unable to learn, or you lack the knowledge, you lack the stability, you lack the sensibility? What is it that is holding you back? Or is it something just external? Maybe it is fear of a peer group, maybe it is fear of your boss. There is some restricting belief in you, which, if you are not able to bridge the gap by yourself, is what is holding you back. It is very important that you identify that belief, because restricting beliefs are strong anchors that pull us down. They are these chains that are holding us down and are preventing you from becoming who you can become. So there is a lot of introspection involved here. If you are able to do this, kindly do it. Watch the video again, see the steps that I have said. If you, again, I'm repeating, if you're able to do it, please do it on your own. If not, join a workshop, join a place, or go to a person who is able to help you. Because if you are not helped right now, this lack of confidence or this want of being viewed as a confident person can very soon cascade into bigger psychological issues, because it will just increase your unhappiness and dissatisfaction in life. So I hope you're able to take that a little seriously. My next question is came to me in email by Dhruv. He says, "Hi Harleen, I have been following your videos and page. Thank you so much for your efforts to add value to the community." You are most welcome, Dhruv. It is something that I enjoy, and that really is my intrinsic motivation to keep me going, to be able to touch lives and heal hearts. Your question is, when someone asks me a question at work, even though I know it, I am unable to answer confidently. That I feel is again a very common problem. A lot of the answers is something that has already been discussed in the previous question. There is an overlap here. Let's start with this question, Dhruv. What makes you think that you're not confident? Because you just said, I am unable to answer confidently, which means that you are answering, but you are not doing a good job of answering. So, what makes you feel that? Is it feedback that you have received about not being confident? Is it something that is in your head? Is it a signal or a feeling that you are picking up? Is it your gut reaction or instinct? What about your environment and people's reaction and your action do you feel is leading to this sensation of you not being confident? Number one. Number two, I also want you to think about the three buckets: knowledge, physiology, and communication. Do you think you are confident in all these three buckets? Is your presence in one of three buckets making you feel uncomfortable? If you are uncomfortable in one of these buckets, then that is a sign that you need to investigate that bucket, and it makes your life easier. Instead of basically roaming around everywhere, at least now we know where the problem lies. It's building a funnel that is going downward. Once you identify where the problem is, next, again, like I spoke to the anonymous person earlier, what is preventing you from bridging that gap? Is the problem intrinsic? What that means is, are you not able to answer confidently because of yourself, something that is within you? Or in your case, is it extrinsic? That means, are you intimidated by someone at work? Is the environment around you uncomfortable? Are you feeling undervalued or worse, unworthy at work? Is there a threat that you are feeling or picking up in your environment? What is causing you to be at edge or uneasy at work? You need to calmly reflect and think about that. The answers typically lie in the questions we ask. We have to just learn to ask the right questions. Because the moment we ask ourselves the right question, even if our conscious mind doesn't know the answer, it reaches out to the subconscious mind, who can then reach out to the unconscious mind to figure out where the answer lies. Moving on. If there is belief that is preventing you from reaching your full potential, in this case, you feel it is an intrinsic thing, or even if it's extrinsic, it is an insecurity that is making you get intimidated by someone else. It is some restricting belief that is putting the thought in your head where you're falling short when compared to your peers. So it is imperative, right? Especially in your case where you feel you have the knowledge and you have the skills. If the problem is mostly an emotional or a mental thing, then it is imperative that we identify it and then heal it, so that we are able to build you up in a manner where you only see success and confidence as you move forward. Again, I would suggest that you find your motivation and get in touch with someone who can help you get over these beliefs. You are more than welcome to join our community, where you can receive a lot of this information free of cost. There are videos available in mine. You can also research and look at videos on YouTube. There's a plethora of information out there today. But if this is falling short and you feel like you need someone to hold your hand and hold you accountable, then workshops is one solution, just like I had suggested earlier. And if you want something more than that, then definitely I would suggest a one on one setting where you're able to identify your issue and are able to get ahead. I'm going to digress a little bit here, right? It's very important, folks, that you value yourself first. You are the most precious thing to yourself in this world. If you are not mentally and emotionally well or stable, can you take care of anything around you? If you don't do anything and everything that is possible to give yourself a chance to be happy and give yourself a chance to reach your full potential and to be that person that nature or God intended you to be, would you be happy living an unfulfilled life? Would you be happy living a life that is average and mediocre and just fulfilling your duty from day to night, and every day following the same rut? I don't think so. So it is very important that you find the courage and the value in yourself and reach out to people, because help only when it's timely has the most impact. This is something that you have to remember, because as a society, sometimes we procrastinate, right? And we procrastinate again because of restricting beliefs that we have. And this is something very common. This is something that I also am guilty of. For example, if I'm unwell, I would say, क्यों डॉक्टर के पास जाए, फालतू ऐसा है, right? Why go to a doctor unnecessarily? It's just a small cold. Let's just heal it, take care of it at home. If it's fever, oh, it's just a fever, I'll take care of it at home. If I don't value myself, who else is going to value me? If I accept that it is okay for me to suffer and ride that wave and wait for that point until where I can't take it anymore before I can reach help, who else is to blame? Just me. If getting better is important and if I am important, then the moment something happens and I'm unable to figure things out, it's the most logical thing to go find help. Because only to the people where results matter, those are the people who will reach for help. The people for whom the results are not important will say, let's see what happens. The proactive people, the people who are go getters, the people who love to be challenged and who want to create a mark in this world, they will not take a chance. These are the people who want to create history. And to create history, you need to be fit. To be fit, you need to value yourself. And to value yourself, you need to find help wherever it is, whenever it is, so that you get over your hurdle and move forward. Because what you need and what you have come across is just that one small hurdle. That's it. Moving on to the third question. Feel like I am stuck. I do whatever he asks. Don't question him, but he does not value me. Others come, overtake me, but I stay just where I am. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. You, the fact that you have reached out to me tells me that you've probably reached your threshold and you cannot take this anymore. And I am glad that you have found the courage to do that, because I can feel the pain and the frustration in your couple of sentences that you have used to explain your problem to me. Well, first things first, okay? As a counselor or as a psychotherapist, the last thing I need to do is encourage labels. And what I mean by that is the label that you used, I am a man and I need to be strong. Anything that is a social or a mental or an emotional label is detrimental, no matter what. Even if the label is good, it is detrimental, but we will have that discussion later on. Coming back to you, you said, I am a man, I need to be strong. Why? Just because you're a man, you need to be strong? Don't you have red blood inside you? Don't you have two eyes? Don't you have lungs to breathe? Don't you have a heart to feel? Don't you have legs to walk, hands to feel and touch? Don't you have a brain that is capable of thought? What makes you different? Issues, what is it that makes you different? You are, my friend, running away or have been running away from so many years from your true emotions. And I have a feeling there is so much of frustration inside of you that you are perhaps putting this frustration and stress on your spouse and your children, which is so unhealthy. It is unhealthy because it breaks and stresses out your relationship with them. And worse, it is harming you. And it is harming you in a way that will cause getting better harder, right? So this is something that you need to stop now. First things first, accept and recognize it is okay to feel angry. It is okay to be emotional. It is okay to say what's going on. Remove that mask of being the man in the house, right? This you have been uh, going on like a machine, it seems like, from years together, fulfilling your duties. Where is the real you? Because right now, I am sure what the people are seeing around you is just a machine. It is a man who is wearing this mask. Where is the real you? You are so frustrated and so tired of being undervalued that you are unfortunately taking this out on your children and your wife. What can we do? First, always in therapy, recognize and accept. Okay? Recognize and accept what? A, you are unhappy. You are sad. You are frustrated about being in the same place for years. More than that, you are sad and uh, and you can't take anymore that you are undervalued. You are sad about the fact that you are ignored and you are really unworthy at work. And this is something that you feel. I am using big words and they might seem as labels, but the reason I'm using these big words is to push you to reach out to yourself so that your subconscious mind fights with your conscious mind and finds that motivation, my friend. You need to find both motivations, intrinsic and extrinsic. In your case, it has to be a combination. So accept, and once you accept, there will be so much of anger and angst inside of you that angst and anger and annoyance and frustration will lead to a path on how we can go forward, and a motivation that you can use that will push you forward. Second, once you accept, assume all of this happens, okay? Then I want you to logically think and ask yourself, what have you been doing over these years to change this equation? You say people have come and gone, right? People come, overtake you, but you are where you are. You have been literally like maybe a flunky for your manager, doing things that he's asking to do. Being a flunky is not the same as being treated as an equal, right? So, knowing what you have known for so many years, what have you done to change it? Was there any proactiveness? Or did you just decide to be a victim, where you just created for yourself this hole of despair, this black emotional hole that you kept digging and digging and going under and under, where you told yourself, what can I do? I am doing everything. He doesn't like me. I am following his instructions. I am good to him. I'm going to work. I'm coming back to work. What can I do? The moment you put the blame on someone else, you treat yourself as a victim. When you treat yourself as a victim, you are shifting responsibility and accountability. The moment you shift responsibility and accountability, how are you going to get better? Because your mind thinks you're fine. Because it's not your problem, right? It is someone else's problem. If you don't accept the problem, how will your mind push you to find a solution? After that, what else can we do? I understand, right, that there is corporate bureaucracy at work. There always is. And sometimes in smaller companies where there's less of a transparency, it becomes more difficult. But my question is, what else have you done to change this? Maybe have you improved your skills? Have you tried to build allies? Have you gone and spoken to your manager and your boss? Have you told him, I'm tired of being in this situation? What can I do to get better? Proactiveness, my friend, is a very big thing. You need to find the want to become better. If the desire to change is not greater than the desire to stay the same, change will not happen. Then it is just talk. Vessels make the most noise. If you are serious about change, it is time to put your money where your mouth is, which means action, my friend. What can you do? See, given your situation, my suggestion would be that you first look into your own core competencies, your own skills, and see where you're lacking, and first try and build them. Once you feel your skills are in a suitable place, I would also ask you to start reaching out and find another job. Given your situation, given that you have been here for so many years, it might be very difficult for you more than anyone else to change 360 degrees, actually 180 degrees in this case, where suddenly from a person who is ignored to be treated as someone who is valued. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just going to be very difficult, and we don't want to add that kind of stress. We set goals that are achievable. We set goals that are manageable, right? We do not want to set goals which are difficult for us and propagate failure, because that pulls us down. That is a very important aspect of goal setting. So in your case, my friend, take the help of a life coach, right? If you need or a counselor or a therapist, take a help of one such person who can work for you and help you reinvent yourself and get to that place that you want to do. That exactly is what a life coach does. A life coach is about finding your goals and helping you achieve your goals in a manner that is best suited for you. So I would definitely suggest that you do that. As always, do join, so subscribe to the Facebook page, the YouTube, where there is abundant of information out there available for you. Make use of that information. Reach out to therapists like myself, and I'm sure there must be others who are willing to help you uh, uh, like this, in a session which is free. Or you can even join workshops like what I was suggesting to the earlier people. Find a solution that works for you and move ahead. Okay, the next question is anonymous. She says, I joined a kitty group, treated well or liked by all. I feel I am a good person, but this has affected me a lot. What do I do? I'm assuming it's a lady because of the kitty group. I should not be definitely not be presumptuous or judgmental, but I'm going to talk and reply with a she here. I am sure, right? Everyone within you and you alone. Don't give that right out to people. Very easy to say, very, very easy to say, but very difficult to do. Which is why people like therapists and life coaches come into play. But coming back, see, when you don't get along well with people, there is a couple of things that can happen, right? One is you have to accept something about you, my friend, is not aligning with the people in that kitty group, whatever that may be. And I'm not saying it is something that you are lacking. It's just not allowing our growth. Let go of any opportunity where we are receiving feedback to become better. What that means is, I do not want your instant reaction to be, oh, they don't like me, I don't like them either. Let's not be judgmental or impulsive when that happens. I want you to reflect and think about their actions and your actions, and when and why were they rude to you? What did you do to provoke that? If they did not treat you well, how did they not treat you well? What was the reason? Was there some trigger that made them do that? If we are able to train our mind to be heedful of the feedback that we are receiving, we can actually push ourselves into growing and becoming the best versions of ourselves. Again, it's a very difficult thing to do, but you do that by restraint, right? The first reaction is reduce impulse. They might be wrong, but first introspect. Always ask yourself, what did I do? If the answer to this is that they are for some reason prejudiced towards you, and really there is no substantial feedback that you can take away or any improvements, then you can do the following, what I will tell you. But keep one thing in mind, there is always, always, always improvement. Even if you go to a room full of people who are presumptuous and hollow and full of themselves, when you interact with them, if you are someone who's genuine and authentic, you might not like them, but that 15 or 20 minutes of interaction will teach you and expose you to what it takes and what it means to. It is making you street smart. It is giving you added knowledge and skills on how to get along with people who are like that. And tomorrow, when you're working, you go outside, you meet others who are like that, you would have already learned the strategy and the technique how to deal with such people. All of us are different. And it's not a bad thing. It is very important to learn how to deal with everybody, because in today's practical world, it is a necessity. Coming back to what can we do? let's talk about a marker called self-worth. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because you, sweetie, said that this has affected you a lot. What is self-worth? Self-worth is the value that you have as a person, or the value that you think others believe you have, right? So it is a two-way street. So I want you to again take a sheet of paper and write down what attributes you have. What is it that you have that makes you valuable as a person, that makes you someone uh, that others would like to hang out with, someone who is worthy, someone who is a good friend. What are the things that make you good? And I know there is a good big list because you told me that I feel I'm a good person. So this conveys to me some amount of humility, some amount of decency, and some amount of uh, nicety in you. So I want you to write that. Once you write that, I want you to review it. This describes your self-worth. So if you are all that in the list, how can anybody take it away? Don't give anyone the right to take it away. Second thing, keep in mind that herd mentality works, right? Sometimes people don't like each other for whatever the reason may be. You don't let their lack of reaction affect who you. Reasons could be multiple. In fact, there are multiple posts and a video that I have done about comparisons. Today's world, unfortunately, many people make connections, but those connections become comparisons. And once you begin to compare, jealousy creeps in. And when jealousy creeps in, envy takes control. And where envy takes control, there can't be an authentic connection. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I would encourage you to read my Facebook post and definitely go and see that video. I will try and find it and send it to you. Um, Definitely look at it and see what you learn from it. Focus on investing and building connections that resonate with you as a person, because happiness from a relationship is all about quality, not quantity. And if you are happy with who you are as a person, find those people and stay with them. My last question for today is by Richa. She says, I have been friends with her for the past 15 years. Now, suddenly, she is treating me differently. I'm torn between my self respect and affection. What should I be doing? Thank you so much, Richa, for coming forward and asking me. You obviously care about this friend, which is why you're asking me. First, again, you're going to hear me repeat this because this is exactly how I work with all my clients, is recognition and acceptance. I want you to think back and reflect on the time when this changed. When or what was the scenario or the circumstances when the attitude towards you changed? Was it something that you said? Was it something that she said? I want you to recall it. Was it some incident that happened there? Did that incident involve the vices of emotions or money, family, ego, self respect? I want you to write these down and think about each bucket. What happened? It is very important that you do that exercise first, that you try and reach within your mind and recall the incident and the environment and the variables at play then before you go talk to her. Because what this will do is it will give you a chance to recognize and accept where you went wrong. And so that when you go speak to her and she uh, is impulsive and reacts impulsively because you have had a chance to think about it, but when you go talk to her, maybe she has not had a chance to think about it. So she might react impulsively and adversely towards you. You will have a chance to be calm, calm her down, and accept where you went wrong. The moment you accept, you become the bigger person. And maybe she was so hurt that her hurt actually goes away. All she wanted and all she was waiting was for your acceptance and recognition of what you did. If you feel there was nothing that uh, you did specifically, or you are unable to think about it, I still want you to go to her, but go to her practicing restraint. It is possible that she will be impulsive, she will react, but you should not do that. Give it a chance. The only way of healing this is by conversation. If you talk and the conversation goes forward, both of you would have found a best friend, your BFF again. If it doesn't go the way you intended or the way you thought it would, then at least there is closure in your heart and you know you need to move on. That